What's up, guys, here, and welcome to Town Hall Heroes, episode number 49. I'm your host, Solid Jake. These
I
nerds are...
think you muted me.
Yeah, you guys were muted, so...
He knows.
Whatever
He's
you're
wise.
giggling about, I was prepared for your shenanigans. But on that note, I'm your host, Solid Jake, and I'm joined by my beautiful...
See, Corey? I told you I was right.
Oh, so mad right now.
Oh, God.
And I'm joined by my lovely co-host, but tonight we've got, well, two guests. And just going down the line here, we're going to go over to Mcintyre. And Mcintyre, why don't you introduce yourself to the stream?
What's up, stream? My name is Mcintyre. I am the captain of Team Barell Boys. You guys may have heard of us. We're kind of a new up-and-coming team. So I'm looking forward to the show tonight, and hopefully we get to talk about some Heroes of the Storm.
Hopefully.
We're going to get there. We're going to get there. And we have a veteran here returning, Mr. CS Steve. What's up with you?
Hi, friends. Not much. I'm Steve. How you doing? I don't know how in depth you want me to get, but I'm a Reddit guy. I moderate for our Heroes of the Storm. I do a whole bunch of ESL goodies and Kings of the Storm tournament, all kinds of esports for this wonderful game that we'll be talking about today. So I'm glad to be here, and it's going to be a good show.
Zoloff, the Giggly Barbarian. What is new with you?
Oh, we'll get into it later, but I've been so busy.
Your Twitter changed. I see
Twitter,
that.
yeah. Tempo.
Ooh.
Uh,
Ooh.
Yeah, I last weekend, like Friday, I guess, we announced that CBO Gaming had been acquired by Tempo Storm, and I am the team's manager, coach, and caster, content producer type thing. And it has been annoyingly busy work, but
First world problems in esports right there.
first world problems,
Sports.
right? But it's been, yeah, it's cool. I mean, we're gonna talk about it later in the show, but it was very nice to get the announcement out there, and yeah, it's been exciting because now Reynad's my boss, and I've always liked Reynad. He's a cool streamer.
He's a cool dude, that's for sure. Speaking of cool dudes,
Oh,
Where's Kev?
so
Right?
McIntyre.
Where's Kev? Right? Where's Kev? Like cool dudes? Where's Kev?
well, hold on. Is this way, right? Yeah. Okay. What's the deal, man?
Kubi, what's new with you?
Geez, what has got? Yeah, a lot has happened over the past week. Yeah, we were talking about Apex and all that stuff, and Super Bowl shenanigans during the pre-show. But other than that, the casting gauntlet was completed. That was a lot of fun. That was ESL monthly, and then Kings of Storm 5. Those are both monthly qualifiers, and then we started up ESL Major League last night. So if you guys caught that, then you saw that. But that's a ton of casting this week, and it's been good. It's been fun stuff.
What did we cast? 16 hours in a 28-hour time frame or something?
Yeah,
It
was a lot. It was a lot of casting.
It was a lot.
It was fun though.
It's a pretty strange time frame. 28 hours?
Well, the ESL monthly started really late in the night, and
He's padding the numbers. It's basically what's going on here.
I see. Okay.
I have no
Standard.
idea. Math is hard. Math is hard.
Never
Well,
do math on stream.
On my side of the world, well, a lot of casting. Big announcements there. We are casting the ESL Major League. Matt is of course in charge of that. So collectively, the three of us are kind of running NA, making those casts happen, and it's very exciting to see that going forward. I just made an announcement. We're going to jump in with that about a tournament that Zoe and I are going to be casting.
Ooh.
It is the Ding It Invitational, and the thread is on Reddit. You can find all the information there on Reddit. It's on Heroes Nexus, and it's on Team Liquid, so there's a lot of information. But essentially, it's a $1,600 tournament that Mr. McIntyre is going to be playing in.
Exciting, yeah.
16 teams invited to the qualifiers, and 8 teams will advance to a 8-man bracket. And that's all kicking off next Friday. So already between ESL Major League and that, and everything's kind of ramping up, it seems, for competitive heroes.
Yes.
And I just kind of want to segue the discussion we had last week, since we have CS Steve with us, and since CS Steve is such a big foundation to North American heroes. We talked about, just kind of how to the best grow the community here in NA, because if you compare NA to EU has way more teams. And I'm just going to give you the floor, Matt, and get your 2 cents out here.
All right. So I'll dive right in, and I'm not going to hold anything back. North America is extremely greedy, and a lot of the teams that come into almost any esport in North America expect to have an immediate payoff, and that's kind of their thing. They're like, okay, we're gonna play this game, and it's gonna be a job. It's gonna be a side job, basically, is what many people decide to kind of evaluate this as, and that's not the case. It never has been, and it probably never will be. There's just not enough money in the scene to make that work. We're trying really hard, and the difference between NA and EU is that there's a lot of just passion players in the EU. The people that will just get up and dump hours and hours and hours of time into the game. They'll play tournaments at like crazy hours. They'll do all kinds of stuff, and there's just a lot of people there ready to do it. So the biggest thing is kind of passion and willingness to play for free to get potential things down the road. So hopefully we see a lot more people coming out to events that are free. Like we have ESLs. The next 3 weeks, unless we get funding outside, will be free of prize and free to enter for Kings. So we'll see how that goes. My stance is that we need to have more events in general. And I would love to run every single one of them if I could, but I work full time as well as doing everything. So I'm going to try to get something going on during the week. We are making really, really valiant strides with the amateur scene right now and the free agents. We have 2ARC. They've put together a lot of really good stuff. They've created basically scrim channels where if you're a free agent and you're in the Skype channel that I run, you can talk with them, get in and just pick up scrims. You can run all kinds of goodies there and try to find a team. We try to make more teams out of that and then, kind of snowball it into having more events. And that's kind of where we're going right now. So real quick recap, because kind of I want to get everybody else's opinion too. We need more people ready to play, just to play, like competitive nature. Just that's what we want. And we need just people to sit down and try again. Like you're not going to win every event you go to, but stick with it, stick with your teams, get better, and then just keep pushing more and more people into the scene from there.
So Mcintyre, as a player, what's your response to this?
I guess like looking at our team where we started, we were kind of that. We just started playing. We loved playing the game. And then we were like, let's play tournaments, right? So we started signing up for ESL, I think was the first tournament we signed up for. And that week in particular, not a lot of the good teams, the better teams, SMG during that time, Glorious, they weren't signed up, and we ended up winning the whole tournament. So that was really exciting for us. And we were like, wow, we can actually do this. And the following weeks, we got like 2-0 by SMG, 2-0 by SMG, 2-0 by Glorious. We just continued to get beat round one, but we continued to sign up and continue to practice. And we've kind of like progressed up a hill, right? And we've kind of become a better team because of it, So I think with the new teams that are coming out there, it's worth it to go at it and try. Like Steve said, like just continue to play and practice and get better at the game, and you might eventually get to a point where you can play competitively. I don't know.
So just right off, do you think that first win made a big difference? Like having that taste of victory, do you think that's helped your team like be motivated in general?
I don't think the first one was necessarily what was like, okay, maybe we can win, but I think it was definitely even taking like a round off of SMG and quick matches, for example, before we even played in a tournament. It was like we matched against that team and we took a game off of them. That's exciting. That's something that encourages us to continue to play and continue to practice. So I think just putting yourself out there and just giving yourself a chance to even win, or you compete even, is worth the time of the players and maybe something that NA isn't valuing right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm gonna snag host here, because this is a chance that you're never going to get again, likely, Mr. Mcintyre. So you have the opportunity right now to talk face-to-face with a tournament admin on stream, so this is going to be recorded. What is the one thing that you want to see in terms of format change for events that you think would help people getting into the scene? Do we need more double elimination brackets? Do we need, instead of best of one, best of three? Do we need multiple like BO1 double elimination? Do we just need more events? Like, what would be your one thing that you would aim for there?
I mean, you pushed on the more events. I think more events would be good. And you said that you can't host more events. So someone steps in and hosts new events. That would be a good start. I think when we first started playing, it was all best of ones, and best of ones are kind of a little heartbreaking, right? You get on, you're excited to play, and then you lose that first game, and that's it. You're done for the day, sort of, or you check out for the day. I would say maybe moving best of ones, but loser brackets could be a cool idea because you might lose that first game to the top team, but then your second game might be against a team that you might stand a chance against. So you would get that second chance to maybe get the win to encourage your team or yourself to continue to play. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
But definitely more tournaments, more things for the amateur scene to start up, right? Like someone that just made a 5-stack and they want to play in a quick tournament. That could be really cool, I think. Sure.
Okay.
Like the best way to improve is to play against the best, and or start like branching out other teams. Like if you want to scrim Barell Boys or you want to scrim Temple Storm, like the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you first of all put yourself in a position to meet these guys by running into them in the tournament, and then also proving to them that you're kind of worth their time. The only way to do that is to start running into other teams. Like maybe you won't be able to scrim Barell Boys or Temple Storm right off the bat, but you can like run into some of the lower tier teams like got 2Arc and Tempest there. You start doing decent against them in tournaments. I'm like, you know what? We'll make time for you in scrims once a week. Give you a shot. You start improving off of them. And then it's not only just better like just to get experience in the whole, but this is how you meet the teams that are going to help you improve the best. And, there's no downside really to entering these tournaments.
It's just it's time spent, and like, what are you gonna do that day anyways? You're gonna sit around and watch football? No, play video games. It's more important. Football season's over. You have no excuse now. Sign up for these events.
Hockey season. I mean,
what did Korean DJ say in the Smash documentary? Like he would just go to people and like do money matches with the best players, just to get the practice. Like he would get bodied over and over and over again. So but eventually he became the best from doing that.
Yeah, just to kind of cover that a little bit more. Precisely, I guess a money match is when you put money on the line. You say, each players put $5 on the TV, and you challenge someone to a match. Winner takes the money. And he had a list, literally a list of just people that he would just go up to and just money match them. He would just walk up to you. He would say 2 words, money match, and that's all he would say. And if you say yes, he'll play you. If no, he walks to the next person. He says money match. But yeah, like you're saying, Zoe, that mentality of playing against the best is the best way to get better, and consistency is a big key factor. I think. Kuba, you've been pretty quiet during all of this, though. So
I think that's nice. Yes, that's how a team that wants to get better. Yeah, that's definitely the way to go about doing it. I think the problem is before that, and that is, I mean, you guys have touched a little bit upon like, a team makes a 5-stack. And it's like, we want to test our metal here. I think that's the problem, getting from that point, jumping to being like an officiated team, right? And I think perhaps amateur tournaments, or it's like, I don't even know like how you would set this up where you exclude a certain like, I don't know, skill set of teams. I don't know if there's a way to easily do that. But basically teams that are like, say teams that are qualified for ESL are not eligible to enter this tournament. Right?
That's probably the only way to do it right now.
I think that would help a lot, where it's like, okay,
we had Silver League tournaments daily. We had Gold League tournaments
daily. Like that. I think that's probably the best way, just to get more teams like created and running into tournaments and like actually playing more, just to start to grow the scene. I think it's actually at the real bottom part of it is where we need to start developing things.
Yeah, sure. That's without a doubt, that's correct. And there's 2 really good topics that we can branch off of there, but I want to focus on one. And it's something that we dealt with in League when I was really involved in that scene, and that's the aspect of amateur events. Now, right now we have ESL majors, right? You 2 are casting it. Your team is in it, and your team is also in it. So we have those right now, but we also have the ESL weeklies, and then we have the ESL monthlies. Do you think that this is, again, things that I probably shouldn't say on stream, but we're gonna go there. Do you think that we should not allow major league teams to play in the weeklies and the monthlies? Right now, they can't play in monthlies, but do you think it's okay that we allow teams to play in monthlies? And this is kind of a question for everyone, or should that not be a thing?
I'm just gonna jump in and say, like, right now, with the limited opportunity to earn money, it's kind of a crappy thing to do with the crowded space that we have. Give it a few months, assuming other organizations step in, start running more events, create more opportunities for just revenue in general. Sure, but as it stands, like, these teams are trying to, I mean, they're not only trying to prove to themselves that they're the best, but they're trying to monetize and they're trying to sell themselves to maybe bigger brands or earn a bigger amount of revenue through the brand they're already with. And every opportunity they can take to play currently is crucial.
Yeah, I get that, but you also have to consider it from the point of if these teams continue to dominate the weekly tournaments, the qualifier tournaments for ESL on Sundays, there's very little incentive for new teams to jump in because there's little chance for them to win, right? So it stunts the growth of the scene, and therefore if the scene doesn't grow, there's less likely for sponsors to jump into larger tournaments.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying, Jake. I understand, and that makes a lot of sense. And
so
of
what
course
about
teams are trying to get money right now, but
what about
from the other side of the coin, it's also really does stunt the growth, I think, of new teams trying to enter the scene.
Now this is obviously a different discussion, but make monthlies bigger brackets, have teams from the previous monthly auto qualify, and then they're not conflicting with the other teams. You keep the opportunity for new teams to come in the same, but you have people that place within like the top 8 or something of the previous month auto qualify for next season or something. Like half the teams from the previous month auto qualify, therefore they're not in all those weeklies and stuff constantly fighting for those points. That's one way to remove teams and make more opportunity.
That sounds like it would only hurt in every way. Because the teams that the major league teams don't have to qualify for the monthly. So they would only be knocking out more teams from
they're already auto qualified for monthlies.
No, the teams
right
in
now
Major League don't play in monthlies.
I see. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what you said would make 100% sense if we were doing the initial placement again. But where we are now, it doesn't work that way. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of like I don't know. I played Magic for a while, and so you always had those guys, the local card shops. You always had those guys that were the sharks kind of, and they were winning and winning, and the little guys never had a chance. But I don't think that. I mean, with the a few tournaments that are happening right now, it's kind of hard to cut out the bigger name teams for the little guys.
how many teams are in major, right? 8, and like only 4 of them are going to be able to make money in this, right? Only top 4 makes money.
Top 4 makes
money. So like you're denying 8 teams, and then those 4 that aren't going to get money for that long period of time. That kind of
I mean, it comes out to be the chance of you winning every event is pretty slim. Even Tempo hasn't won every event that they've gone into for ESL.
True.
I mean, whether you want to claim it on format, whatever, it doesn't matter. But what it comes down to is they can't play in monthlies anyways. So even if they won every single event, that's $800 over 8 weeks, and that's split among 5 people. So you're looking at what's that math, like 120, no, 140 a piece over 8 weeks. You could make that money flipping burgers at McDonald's. Like, if money is the issue for you, it should not be the reason that you're going into ESLs.
Esports money.
Yeah, like it's
fable.
it's not like I understand that in theory it's the reason there's like, oh well, they want to make money playing video games, but like you're dropping like 5-6 hours a day to win $20.
$20, yep.
Like, go wash cars, and you'll make money. Like I know it sounds like it's things that you don't want to hear.
It's true. No, it's
like, you don't want to hear your tournament organizer say, but like that's the case. Like, if you're in this for the money right now, you're in the wrong thing. And I'm not trying to discourage people from playing, because I do think that the money will be there. I have the backroom knowledge to say that like there are really big things coming down the line as long as we have the viewership and the player base, and that's why we're constantly pushing. Like, the money's here. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. The money's coming. It's just we need to get the player base to be a lot bigger. So right now, this worries me, because I don't want teams coming in and just stomping everything out. But at the same time, I don't want to deny teams the chance of playing as well. So it's a really tough gambit. And right now we're letting major league teams into the weeklies. We've seen a little bit of frustration from teams already, getting feedback from the first weekly that we ran, number 9. Wildfire got matched up against Tempo round 1. Granted, they pulled the win, so like super big props to them. I think was it Vivid that got matched up against EG? I want to say it was that. And I know Tempest got the free bye because Glorious wasn't around. But Tempest having to go against Glorious and the thing, like, these are all teams that have been pitted against each other, and generally speaking, those major teams have won, which is why they're in majors. And the issue comes where, like, if you're getting matched up round 2, then you're not even getting seeding points going into the monthly.
Yeah.
So
I think with the major, and then we have Dinget starting next week, I believe.
Next Friday, yep.
The
Next
13th,
Friday.
I think.
And then we have COTS on Saturday. That's 3 events that all the top teams are in. You know what? Let the lower level teams have the weekly. I'm fine with that. That's
shout-outs to not mentioning HPL. Hype.
I didn't know HPL had started back up.
It's coming.
I think
they're doing
20th
they're doing
or
one
something.
more. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing one more qualifier on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And then
Well,
then it
you
goes
throw in
into the season.
HPL and
That's coming like late
Diamond
February.
Ever starts a league and whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot
The
of
top
things
teams
that they
have
can
plenty
do.
of stuff to play in, and okay, I've changed my mind. Let's I'm cool with not having the top teams allowed in the weeklies, just
Yeah.
because
When you look at it that way, I think it's probably better for them not be allowed to play.
the important
Makes
thing, like
sense.
you pointed out, like if you get knocked, like of course the lower, like when it's if Tempest or Tempo Storm.
Someday.
If Tempo Storm was to just win the whole weekly, and like they knocked out all these teams who aren't getting points now because of that, like
Right.
that's just like that point alone, just like even though we're like it doesn't help us at all because we're already in the major, like we're not getting anything from it except for the money, but like I don't know, it can like completely ruin someone's shot of progressing to a monthly because they kept running into Tempo Storm or Barrel Boys every freaking time. So like I like that actually.
Yeah.
If the big teams can't play in the monthly, no point in playing in the weekly.
And the fact of the matter is, we really need to start encouraging new teams to play. And if you have to face Symbio round 1, I mean that's got to be the most discouraging thing. Tempo Storm, that's got to be the most discouraging thing to do. It's going to take a while to get used to saying Tempo Storm, but on that note, I want to segue a little bit to a related discussion, which is just the there's a lot of teams that just had a big change in rosters, and we're just going to power through them really quick. So, starting it off, what's up?
That was fun. I had to deal with that.
Yeah. So basically, what it all boiled down with is Matt saying I had to deal with that. Well, ESL said, "Hey guys, you guys all the 8 teams that qualified for the ESL Major League had to lock into their rosters by like 6 p.m. on Tuesday." And they had to send their official rosters over, and they're allowed to add 2 subs to their rosters, and they're stuck with these rosters for about 2 months. So if you have they had like pretty much a couple days to just kind of figure out who they're keeping if they want to make changes, and they had to do it then and there. As a result, a few teams are gone, and a few teams have seen some changes. So Zuna and Kenma are no longer on the main Maelstrom roster. They're still according to their tweets, they're still with Cloud9 to some capacity, but they are no longer on the Maelstrom roster. So then iDream and K1 Pro were taken from Cloud9 Vortex and brought over to Maelstrom, making Maelstrom's roster Dunk Train, Caffeine, Biceps, iDream, and K1 Pro. You go to Vortex, well, they had a position where they needed 2 new players. Glorious was sitting on a 3-man roster that had been trying out 2 players. So what they ended up doing is they sniped Glorious's 3 members, they removed Chef, and now it's Rajar, Bobby, Hank Hill, and they picked up Cathan Luck, they picked up, why am I blanking, Nirak, and they picked up Syracuse, so that's Vortex. As a result, Glorious is Ripperoni and Cheese.
Ripperoni and cheese. And through all this, a few other teams did fall over the past week. Torpedo disbanded, and why is that funny? I don't know.
Why is that funny? And then
Arenas are
next,
supposed to explode, right? That's how they work.
I guess, and next team Nexus champ is no longer around. So this puts a pretty sizable number of players that are quite talented in the free agent market.
Yep.
And what that boils down to is leadership. Are there not enough leaders in this community that are willing to put squads together and make it happen? Because there's so many strong players that are without a team right now.
So I run the free agent chat, which is where a lot of people that you just talked about are currently sitting and spamming.
I know. I've been reading it all day. I joined it today,
Yeah.
and I've just been reading
Yeah.
it, and it's just like,
It's
you
just-
guys are so talented. Like,
Yeah, yep. And it's been that way for a long time. There's been a lot of really talented players in that chat, but even when it comes down, like Kiefer's is in that chat, and he's a really strong player, and he's trying to put together a team right now. So he's one of the ones that's actively trying. Nick has tried before to put a team together. I mean, he had Torpedo.
Nick has tried like 8 times.
Yeah, he's tried a bunch of times. And I don't know who was the other one? The Mancho show. He tried to put together a team.
Yeah.
So he's working. So like those are 3 people that I know for a fact have been trying to put together teams. I know Mancho has been like constantly doing tryouts for almost 2 months now, trying to find the team that he feels really confident in. So while half yes, half no, it is a matter of leaders. It's also a matter of just people. I don't want to say they're expecting too much, but they're looking for very specific players and skills, and because of that, it's not really matching up yet. And I'm gonna make Jake hate me, but I'm gonna say that that's because we don't have a definitive rank system in place that
The
allows
leaderboard would help that, huh?
people. No, it wouldn't.
Fine, Matt.
What we need is just leagues, like actual leagues of ways to determine tiers, not this rank 1 nonsense.
well, yeah, I can't disagree with that. If there was a Code A and Code S in the perfect world, that's phenomenal. Like, great. You know, you're competing for this place, and you don't have to worry about the top dogs. That's good. It creates a comfort zone. It creates an environment that's more encouraging to compete in because you know that you're competing at people at your level, and that's something that doesn't exist. But how can we as a community execute that in a meaningful and well-executed way?
Are you telling me that because I'm rank 1 in Hero
Yes.
League that means nothing?
Yes. Yes, we
What?
are. We are.
What?
It's okay. We still almost love you. So 2Arc has been making strides in that direction. Alexi, the manager for 2Arc Gaming, has actually taken it upon himself to create this mini league in the free agent chat, where he's basically saying like, "Hey guys, listen, if you want to get together and you want to play people, sign up, use this form, and we'll try to pair you with other teams." And he's making a really good effort in that regard to do it. I wish I had a link to it, but shout outs to Alexi if you're watching. You're awesome. And he's trying really hard to make that happen. So the issue that we keep running into is that, and I'll talk about the chat, I guess. We want to limit the chat to say, okay, only certain players are allowed in, right? Like only diamond level players are allowed in, because I mean, I'm not trying to diss like platinum players or gold players, but when you're looking for a team and you're looking to compete at the highest level, you're not going to want to bring on a person who can't bring themselves out of gold. It's just it's never going to work. Like it's nothing against you. Like just grind your games, get better. But the industry standard is, okay, we're looking for diamond players, period.
Yep.
And we don't have a way to measure that. So that's what we need. It's not necessarily that we need people to be able to like, oh my god, I'm so good. It's just we need a way to measure other players against each other in some way, literally any way that's standardized. And from there we can kind of make our own moves.
But hot dogs isn't the answer.
Hot dogs.
I think, like, even honestly, if they added a solo queue, right? Like, I mean, I guess that's what 2Arc's trying to kind of create here. But like, where players aren't just running with this 5 stack of all their best friends, you know, instead they're by themselves. You can see how they react, you know, with a group of 4 random people would really show off someone's real skill. You know, I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a-
I mean, that's exactly what we look at in League. Like you look at League of Legends, and that's a
Solo queue, yeah.
it's pretty successful. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
really.
And
Good
the
place.
way that they handle their free agent chat is, okay, you have challenger level players, and they get exclusive rights to be on a certain list, where teams that are amateur challenger, whatever, they can look at that and say, hey, do you want to try out for our team? We think you'll fit, whatever. And then like you have that resource just at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Here we have like Hero GG, we have Hot Slogs. Now, neither one of those things is awful. They're just not perfect by any means, and I'm not saying any system really is, but you can take what a lot of players are doing is they're taking their current rank, their current games, and then they'll say, here's my hot slogs and here's my ratios on top of it. So like I win these X amount of times on these heroes. Like I'm 70% Brightwing wins out of like 150 games. And then people will be like, oh hey, well we're looking for like a person who can play Brightwing. And that's okay. It's like that's a great tool, and I'm really glad they did that. So that's one way we've started to kind of shift in that direction. But again, there needs to be a more overarching thing, and I can't push that hard enough, and I've been trying. So that's my thing. I'll shut up. I've been talking a lot, so you guys can handle it.
I want Kubi to talk.
Yeah, no doubt.
To talk. When I first heard people talk, I've got to keep in mind that I don't have a League of Legends background, but when I first heard people really emphasizing the solo queue thing, I was very skeptical at first. I was like, that just sounds really toxic. But the more that I've played ranked, I can definitely agree with it, because there are times where it's just like, how do I measure myself compared to what's going on around me? And that's, the more I think about it, it's really the only efficient way to go about doing it.
Absolutely.
So I think that will, if Blizzard's at all concerned in terms of helping the competitive scene grow from this point forward, that's a big thing. We do need those changes to go in. I mean, yeah, when it's ready, we obviously don't want anything that's broken or just doesn't help us at all. But that's if they're looking for the one single thing that they can do to help us, I think that's it.
The next step for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is probably a no-brainer, but actually, rather, how soon do you think we're going to see something like in-game promotion within the client? Because in the StarCraft 2 days, it took a long time, but eventually they'd promote the major lands within the client. Do you think Heroes will see that, and to what capacity?
I think we'll definitely see it. Yeah. I think we'll definitely see it, and we won't see it until after the next BlizzCon.
Wow. Okay.
Well,
why?
Unless there's a tournament that's of like, I guess, DreamHack proportions. That's
it won't
like a legitimate.
happen in beta, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless it's like a legitimate, like full-fledged event of DreamHack size, I don't think we'll see in-game.
So like if DreamHack did like an invitational, you don't think that it's going to be
not even if it like a full like qualifier,
okay,
like full board. I think that's the only time that we'd see it.
That's
but
fair to
other
say,
than that, yeah. But other than that, I think not until after BlizzCon.
What else do you think that Blizzard could do to help competitive heroes, other than, I mean, yeah, solo queue to create opportunity. Maybe like would clan systems help at all? Do you think that would?
It could. Having a way to group players in the game would be really helpful. I think the biggest thing that they could do to help would be to release an API. That would be amazingly helpful.
So it was like
what's an API?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Okay. So an API is what, like, have you ever gone to like lolking.com or Play Dota or any of those? What's the StarCraft one? What's the StarCraft site that did like stats?
SC2 Gears.
SC2 Gears. Okay.
Okay.
It's like you get a free plug into the back end and all the database, and you can just pull stats from it. So you can see everything. You don't need people to be uploading replays or anything.
Like Jester's like writing script that like deciphers the data, but
right, that stuff. And it's like, okay, I play the game and I can immediately click on a website and all the stats from that game are there. Like every talent choice, every move I made, all the damage I did, what damage I did to buildings, damage I did to players, damage I did to everything. Like that would be massively helpful because it would create analytics, and we could actually run full-scale MMR ratings, everything. We wouldn't have to worry about people uploading replays or anything. They just are there. They're in the open. And I know Blizzard has kind of been hesitant on that, but that's one really big thing that helped push League and Dota forward. So that would be awesome if we could get that. And I know Ollie would be extremely happy.
Ollie would probably lose his mind with joy.
So I like Fairgrim's question from the chat. He says that at BlizzCon, Blizzard made a very big point to really emphasize, hey, this isn't a solo queue game. We want you guys to be grouping up with people. And everything that we're trying to advocate here with, we need a solo queue, separate rank system, is going pretty much exactly against that. Maybe that's why we haven't seen it yet. But how do you guys? Is there any way to address this issue without putting in the solo queue? Because they want it to be a team.
Blizzard being wrong about something? Oh man,
they're not. I mean, that's fine. If that's how you want to answer that, if you think that that's a wrong way to approach it.
I think the option is just
a solo duo queue.
I think the option is simply options. You have solo queue, and then you have like free queue, and it's like a different ladder. So there's two versions of Hero League. There's Hero League solo queue, and there's Hero League like random whatever number queue, like free queue it would be called, I guess. And then you still have the Team League and Quick Match. I understand that this is all these different kinds of queues, and that's probably a tax. That's adding on servers and, maybe more queues, and maybe technologically it costs more money to execute that. I don't know. But the more options, the better.
There's a transitional period. Like, if there is a solo queue, then you get solo players playing together. They become friends. And then they make a 5-stack. Then they go to the team queue, and then they go into the tournaments. So it's like
that's a good point.
Having that nice ramp up, I think would be pretty good. But I think that the transition from going from solo queue to getting a consistent group together, I think that is difficult right now.
Yeah,
that might be the hardest step.
I mean, there's also so many it happens like once or twice a week where I just play by myself for a few hours, just because sometimes it's. Sometimes fun to just be by yourself and kind of focus on your own thing.
Right.
No matter what the game. Like, if their whole goal is, this is supposed to be a game you play with your friends. Well, there's no game like that ever. Like, sometimes you just want to play by yourself. Like, that's such a terrible... you have to play this with your friends. That's the only way to do Heroes of the Storm. No.
The perfect example.
Yourself, man.
The perfect example is World of Warcraft is an MMORPG. I have logged an absurd number of hours. I talk to no one. I'm in a guild called Dinosaur Space Squad or something. I don't talk to them. I don't do things with the guild. It's just I have the guild perks. I play the game. I take care of my garrison. I hop in. I do a couple heroics. I do maybe a raid or two a week, if that, But I play the game solo because that's how I choose to play the game. And it's all about having the choice of playing that game, even if it's it's a massively multiplayer online game. That's the name of the genre, and there's billions and millions, not billions. There's millions of players that play it, and and thousands of people on my server. But I interact with none of them, except for the guy that steals that tree I'm trying to harvest, and I yell at him. But that's about it.
Chase that guy.
Get that lumber, yo.
I guess. By the way, I'm linking the 2ARC application in chat. By the way.
Very good. Link that in the Skype for me so that I can put that in the YouTube comments. But
I think without losing sight of the big picture, you play World of Warcraft alone. Like, playing Heroes of the Storm, you can play it alone, but you will be forced to play with your team because the game is team oriented, right? Like,
it goes the same for rating and stuff.
This game is it's not like League of Legends where you can. I hate to reference League of Legends, but you can sit top lane and farm your gold and get really strong and carry your team. You cannot do that in Heroes of the Storm. I think that's kind of the beauty of this game is that it does require all 5 players to play together. And I mean, if you raid in World of Warcraft, you're still raiding with 10 people, right? Or 25 or whatever it is. You might be doing a little more casually, but I don't know. I mean, that's kind of how I feel, because if we're playing the game solo and you're matching with 4 other people, you're still playing as a team. No matter, even if you don't know each other, if you're not friends, you're still playing as a team.
That's true.
Yeah. All right, so you just opened up a can of worms that I've been waiting for someone to say for a long time. So when League started, when Dota started, farming was not a thing. Carrying was not a thing.
Yeah.
None of that was anything. Literally, it was, we have no idea what we're doing. We're just going to play this game. Exactly. Right now, that's where Heroes is. There's a couple of teams that think that they know how to play the game, and they are pretty good at thinking that, and they're pretty good at executing that. And when you see the events, you see them come down, and then you see metas shift within weeks. That's something you don't see. Yeah, days, hours sometimes in event. Like in-event shifts happen where like Tempo decides to just run double support one day. Just out of the blue. They're like, yeah, we're just going to do it. and they like stomp a tournament with it, and it's like, okay, well that's a thing, I guess. And so you have that ideology, and then you bring it in here, and now everybody is applying age-old knowledge from other MOBAs into Heroes, which is not a bad thing, but there are certain points where you can take that knowledge and kind of separate it from what we're looking at right now, and that's the kind of the point where we're getting to right now with Heroes, where there's enough players in the game that a lot more experimenting is starting to happen, and we're starting to see different comps that we haven't seen before. And while Deathball is still really relevant and just kind of the way the game works, there's also starting to be more in, this is mostly in solo queue or whatever, non-competitive play, but that's where the majority of the games happen. We're starting to see more of a shift away from people like just hard deathballing and kind of seeing more skirmishes here and there. So the options are there. We just have to explore them a lot more. So I'm not too sure that, even though the game at a base level definitely feels like you can't play it without friends, but when you get matched with a team that, if say the matchmaking system actually gives you an accurate representation of who you're supposed to be playing with, if you get matched with those people, you can pull off those little skirmishes here and there, and by doing that, you actually get more advantages from it. Now, again, at surface level, and you look at Reddit, you look anywhere, people are just going to be like, oh my god, this game's so deathbally and so snowbally, or I can't do anything. But then all of us here know that that's not necessarily the case. We know that the game isn't at a point where you get one kill, the game's over.
Not at all.
Like, you can bring games back.
Until that core is dead, you
Exactly.
are still standing.
Yeah.
So like we all know that that's the case, but it's going to take time for the player base to understand that that's what's going to come in. So every time people say like, oh my god, like, Heroes is so deathbally or anything like that, I take the with like a grain of salt. I'm like, listen, just play it out, give it a couple weeks, you'll see that there's a difference. So when it comes down to how the game is actually played, I'm not too sure that it needs to be always 5-stack, or you need to always go in with friends. It definitely helps right now. Right now, it definitely helps. Mm-hmm. But when the game develops, I'm not too sure it's always going to be that way.
Sure. Absolutely.
Well, I think we've covered the discussion pretty well, and I think it was actually a really good talk, but we are going to segue away, and it's going to be a continued effort here with the entire community to help it grow. So just the final PSA is, Matt, keep doing what you're doing, because we're dead without you. And players like Mcintyre, keep grinding, and if you're not in a team, just step it up, make a team.
Play.
Just do it. Yeah, make a team. If you have to be the captain, just do it. Just find
together,
people
guys.
and play.
Look at me. No, I'm kidding. That's it. I mean, that is what I did, though. It's just like
no, you
quick
guys
match,
are the
quick
poster
match.
child for that, right?
Yeah, it's like quick match. Oh, hey, I like you. Let's play. Quick, and then we get this 5-stack, and look where we're at. So
this is going to be a little out of order. Typically, this would be the first discussion. But Mcintyre, we didn't really even talk about what team you play on.
Yeah, I want to talk about Barell Boys. Let's go.
Barell Boys.
You guys want to talk about the boys? Yeah.
Start us with the history of the boys of the Barrel.
So yeah, I guess I kind of went into it a little bit. We started out just playing. Like I was a solo queue. I started playing solo queue. I would play by myself when I guess the wipe came, right? Like when everything reset. So I started playing, and I matched into Blinks, who is now our support player. And we started playing together, and we met Trummel. Trummel's one of my real life friends. So Trummel started playing with us. We picked up there's the logo right there. We picked up our warrior player, who was Phoenix at the time, and I can't remember another teammate. Anyways, so we had a 5-stack going, and I think, like I said, we beat SMG in a quick match one time. And it was our Tempo Storm now, but it was SMG at the time. And we beat them in a 5-stack, and we were like, hey, maybe we can play competitively. So we did exactly that, kind of. We had to figure out a name. I guess I should talk about our Barell Boys name.
Yes, that's all we care about right now.
Why do you think you're here, man? Come on.
Yeah, I know. So when we first started playing, I was the warrior for our team, and that was when Chin was like so dominant, right? He was a beast. He could split. It was impossible to kill him. But I, had a troll, and I would take the Barrel ultimate, and every time I took it, I would scream "Barell Boys" and just like start whomping people around. Like even to the point that I would skip resurgence to get the faster barrel.
Oh
You know?
no!
And like we got to the point where we would play quick matches and we would try to get to level 20, get the ultimate on barrel, and then roll one of their teammates from one side of the map to the other, and then kill them. You know, like as you make it even worse. You
Yeah,
know?
so the barrel gets faster at level 20 when you continuously hit a target. So
Yeah, so we would take one target and just try to hit them all the way to our base from their base, and see how far we could push them with a barrel. So Barrel Boys stuck. I think it kind of describes this pretty well. We try to have fun. We try to innovate, but like I said, we started kind of from nothing. None of us are ex League of Legends pros or coming from Dota or StarCraft 2. We're just kind of a bunch of gamers who are like, hey, let's try to play this game competitively. Let's try to be the best team. And I mean, I think we're in a pretty good place right now as far as Heroes of the Storm goes. So a lot of hard work pays off.
So starting off the Barrel Boys interview, one of the things you said was we try to innovate.
Mhm.
What are some of the things you do? Do you guys try out? Like, do you guys mess around with Sonya? Like, what's your process of innovation, if you will?
I think like see Steve, I guess Matt was talking about it earlier. Like we don't really know where this game's at, and a lot of our teammates, we consider ourselves to be bad at the game, in a sense that we don't even know this game, right? It's so young, it's so new. So for us to say that, I mean, obviously Vala is a really good hero, right? But like, why is Vala better than Raynor, right? Raynor does things that Vala can't do, and so forth. So I think when we think about this game, we think about it in a more creative way, a more dynamic way, right? Like Vala might be good at multi-shotting, but you know, if we can pick somebody and Raynor can get a reset, then Raynor actually puts out a lot more damage than Vala does. So I think right now, like that's one thing that us as a team have been doing, in our free time is we've been trying to think up ways to make the game a little different, to shake things up. You know, like the double support was cool that Tempo Storm used. And I think that's something that a lot of teams, especially the new ones, you can do that, right? You can figure out something that other teams haven't figured out, and by that, make a stamp on the meta. Say, hey, ETC is actually really good if you take stage dive. You know, it's like I think that's one of our things that we really try to do.
Yeah, I mean we've seen you do it a ton in events too. It's not like you just do it in scrims or anything.
Yeah,
I see you guys bring stuff out.
I think I think it was against EG last night.
Yep.
We played the Hammer.
Sky Temple.
Yeah, on Sky Temple we played the Hammer Raynor.
Battle Crew? Okay, could we
Yeah,
you take this away?
I want to go into this so bad. First of all, the Raynor build was just so different than anything that we've seen played in the past. So typically, Raynor is going to go some combination of like Gimme More or Seasons Marksman level 1. Level 4, you're going to get the advanced optics, searing attacks. 13, you're probably going Giant Killer into Berserk. Everything's just auto attack focused and just hoping that you can get in, unload as much damage as possible within that like 5 to 10 times second time frame, and then hope that you can get out. Your adrenaline rush gets you out. You guys are just going completely like tons of adrenaline talents taken. And can you like how do you play? Like how does Raynor fit into the rest of this team? Like there's so many questions. Like
I guess like I think the build it used to be an old build back in the day. Shout outs to Fan who was like, hey, maybe we should try this, because he was the one that was like, this actually works really well if you can manage to get kills. So the idea of that Raynor build is you take Quick Fingers at 4, and that doubles all your cooldowns when you get kills. So in this case, we took Hyperion as well, and that's the big laser that shoots down on people. If you can get, I think
whoa,
yeah, it's the laser ship.
Battle cruiser.
Okay. I look at it as a big circle that moves and drops lasers.
You said he doesn't play StarCraft 2, Jared. Calm down.
Sorry, not a StarCraft 2 player.
Arcanis.
It's
No
fine.
respect.
It's fine. Go ahead. Hey,
No
let the man
respect.
talk. I want to talk about this.
So basically, we take Hyperion, and if you can get 3 kills on Raynor, the Hyperion's almost reset itself. So you can get 2 Hyperions off in a team fight in Sky Temple if you play your cards right. So I think in that comp, we had Kerrigan, Arthas. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure
Kerrigan,
we had
Arthas, Uther, Raynor, Hammer. I
okay,
have
so,
the replay like fast forwarding.
So
right now.
so if Kerrigan and Arthas can get an engage on the first target, and Raynor has Bullseye as well, so that's the shotgun, deals extra damage and stuns. So if we can kill that first target, he'll be able to shotgun again, and we can just kind of chain all those ults and get those resets and continue to kill and win that fight, right? So, especially on Sky Temple, it's one of those maps where the other team has to come at us. You know, like that temple, once that temple spawns, that shrine or whatever, we have to fight. The fight has to happen. So we put Raynor with Sergeant Hammer, who's a silly hero. The Europeans have been using him crazy. I think the North America, we're starting to pick it up, but like Hammer is fun because she sits there and you know you have to approach her. So if with that logic, if she can hover a little bit, you know it makes it even harder now for them to engage on us. I think that it's fun. It's a fun comp. It worked well.
It did work
well. Those two heroes kind of synergize really well together because Raynor's Hyperion is scaring you off, Hammer's scaring you off, so that gives us shrine control. If that makes sense.
Now, the level 1 Hammer talent, Resistant, is that just like an insurance policy? Like, what's the real idea behind that? Just being able to siege up more, or what?
Yeah, so that's kind of that level 1 talent is also the sweet spot there because I think in that the other team had Tyrande or Tyrande, whatever her name is, and she can stun and then reset and stun. That's like Hammer's weakness, right? Like double stun, chain stuns. So if you take that level 1 talent, I mean, Hammer doesn't get stunned at all, just can continue to shoot. It's like the other team's kind of wasting their time even thinking about clicking on her. It seems like you know, everyone takes that extra damage at level 1, right? But like it works. It really works. I don't know. It's like next leveling without next leveling. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of ways you say Tyrande, but that was
Tezande?
I'm laughing at Jake's response. Like, yeah, Tyrande. Yep. It's just like
Tyrande. He's like, yeah, okay, different name. Yeah, moving on.
Yeah, I always call it Tyrande. I know that's incorrect, but
that's fine.
It's all right. We'll count it.
Well,
Whatever.
let's just actually look at the build here at level 10. I'm actually powering through the replay, but we can actually look at Resistant here at level 1 for the Hammer. We see Maelstrom shells at level 4. That's pretty standard stuff. First aid, standard stuff. Napalm. It's really just this one, but you wanted to talk about the Raynor build here, Kubi.
Well, giant killer, and then the hover siege is
very suddenly Esports Recap.
We're getting there.
That's another one. Is at 13, Hammer takes giant. Oh, look at me, I'm the best.
Look at that battle cruiser. Look at the zoning here. This is what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is it right here. Like this chaos, right? That Hyperion is hitting. I mean, they almost stood in the whole duration, and when you crunch the numbers of the two ultimates, like Hyperion actually puts out more DPS if the other team is inside of it, right? Like the whole point of taking Raynor's is like to
Raynor's.
Yeah, I call them Raynors. I also call them Raynors. You guys can write that one down too.
Trademark. Let's go.
Yeah.
Raynors.
You have a bunch of Raynors running around. But anyways, the thing about those is they're only putting out single target damage. So in a chaotic fight like the one we just saw, that Hyperion is putting damage on everyone. You know. I don't know. I'm a personal fanboy of it.
I guess EU's right about stuff every once in a while.
We noticed that right away in the cast group. Like, this has to be a very specific thing on Sky Temple because we're talking about how much map control it gives you over that specific point. So it's like, okay, if we can get to the temple first and we know that they have to get here, throwing down that Hyperion and then you have Sergeant Hammer with the ridiculous amount of range just slowly inching forward. It's like, we can go in there to try and kill them. We're going to take a lot of damage in the process. And you just start all those team fights up with like a huge leg up. Which is it was cool to see, and you guys are blowing up Muradin so fast with the giant killer, and then all the damage buffs on Hammer. It was cool to see. It worked really well.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It's all about Raynors.
All about the Raynors.
EU's been running Battlecruiser for a while now, but I don't know. You guys seem to have executed it better. Maybe it was the map or just how you play the team fights. But EU's been running Battlecruiser for like 2 months now, and it always was just like. Why? Like, it just doesn't seem effective, but the way you guys were utilizing it, like, definitely was impressive.
So, I think I was going to say real quick, the Europeans, I'm pretty sure, they like taking it on Garden because you can place it on the boss, right? And then it kind of creates the same sort of bubble.
They also do it on Blackhearts as well.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so. But I think someone said something, I kind of jumped in.
I feel like Garden would be like the last map you would want to use it on. I'm just thinking about situations where you can force fights. That's really where you're going to have the best advantage for it, right? And like Garden, it's almost like easiest to just split the two objectives, right? and then
Well, I mean, for Garden, you can look at it like if they're on the boss, and let's say we'll take like top boss for example.
Yeah,
you come
yeah.
down from top lane, and they like if they arc over to that left side, like there's nowhere that they can run. The entire
yeah,
battle
that's
cruise is going
true.
to hit them.
But there's
the
also
whole thing.
yeah, there are going to be some situations they have to fight there, but there's also going to be a lot of times where they don't have to fight there. On the temple, on Sky Temple, yeah, they got to fight there.
You have to
Right.
fight. Yeah, I mean,
That's what I'm getting at. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I agree.
we'll see. We're playing with it. It worked that time, but
it
you know,
did.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I'm curious if you're going for the reset build, wouldn't I guess it depends on the rest of your comp, but Rainer's Raiders would be equally, if not a little bit better, if you're going for like a pick comp too, because then you can just kind of blow a certain person up and have them off cooldown really soon.
Mhm.
So I think either way you could work it as long as you're looking for that pick comp. But I was pretty happy to see all the fun stuff, all the throwbacks.
Throwback.
Side note for anybody that wasn't here, the very early competitive alpha stuff.
Hyperion was
The-
very silly.
The two support meta was very early alpha
Yeah.
because supports
Yes,
were
a
actually
long time
broken.
ago.
Supports were actually broken back then and like did more damage than carries.
It was so fun. Those days are great, man.
Lily,
Those days were
yeah,
not great,
Lily is
dude.
awesome.
Like, and they've also nerfed like the healing from every healer like
Yeah.
8 times now. Like
Yeah.
supports have
It
just
used
been
to
nerfed
be-
a million times.
It used to be like
Two support,
Malfurion,
yeah, two-
Malfurion and Tassadar was like a thing, and you would just roll people.
Yeah.
It was so good. Oh,
I know we've started doing it versus you guys, but when are people gonna get the clue to not let you play Kerrigan?
Oh,
You're
I
Kerrigan,
mean,
dude.
that's like, yeah, I don't know. Some
We've
people are
started.
picking
We
it up.
started. The respect ban has been coming from us for a while now. Like,
Now,
people need to get that through their mind. This guy's got a sick Kerrigan.
this is a good opportunity to explain that whole us thing. Jared, you've probably been dying to talk about this whole us thing. Let's talk
Who
about
is
us.
Jared? Who
That
is
is us.
I am the official manager of the Tempo Storm Heroes of the Storm squad. Tempo Storm recently, thank you. They recently signed SMG. I had started talking I've known Frodan for a long time. Like we've talked in the past, how Kevin and I go back from like Play M days, like 3-4 years ago. Frodan used to be a Play M caster as well. That's where we met Trick Slayer and a bunch of other people. And
People.
Frodan and I have always been pretty close over the years, and when he was finally looking into Heroes, he like came to me and was like, "Hey, we're looking at teams. What can we do?" And for a few weeks there, we were pushing to get Glorious signed to Tempo Storm, because at the time SMG had other offers and were not interested, and Glorious kind of imploded on itself. So we're like, you know what? Let's take a step back. You know, we'll find a team. We'll be patient with signing a team, and then, like within 4 hours, like just one random conversation, like, well, let's like offer them a team house this quarter, and let's see if they're willing to sign. And
There's the announcement coming out of Zoya with the team house.
no, it was in the main announcement that we're getting a team
Oh,
house.
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's a second announcement from Zoya coming out on Steam.
Damn.
So that like it happened really quick. Like Tempo Storm talks, it's like kind of just like we were talking for about a month, and then it just kind of stopped for a week because of Glorious's kind of awkward period, and then within like 4 hours, everyone was signed, and
Wins.
it's been really cool. The funny thing is, like Frodan was like, so it was like a day later that we decided I was going to be the manager, and the
I guess we'll have
very,
you.
very organized.
Yeah,
you
very
wanna
organized.
Do this thing? Yeah, go do
yeah,
your thing.
you're the manager. And Frodan knew like I had no manager experience, but when he became the manager of Tempo Storm, he didn't have it either. So he's like, you know what, you learn through doing things, and he goes, your first job is to find us a house. What?
Oh god.
What? I don't know. I've never bought a house. I don't know what to do here. And like
Zoloff the realtor. I love it.
it has been a very stressful week because I have been house shopping.
You should have hit me up. Why didn't you hit me up?
I should have.
Right.
You own a house, don't you? Don't you?
Yeah, I kind of did that.
He owns Kubi's Castle. He's a realtor. You didn't know this?
Oh my goodness.
He's not a realtor.
We're currently looking at places in Arizona, I don't know if you know this, but Arizona is like dirt cheap.
Yeah. How do you think Scoots lives on esports money?
Whoop.
The call outs. The call outs. I love Scoots, and if he catches wind of this, even better. Shout out to Arizona,
He's going
though.
to East. He's going to PAX East. You can say it to him then.
I will. Kubi's actually done. Kubi's actually leaving. It's a good time to pet the cat. So when are we getting the sponsors here for the cat? I mean,
soon. One day we will sign Kubi's kitty. The cool thing about Tempo Storm is, if you know anything about Hearthstone, I don't know if it's a 100% comparison, but like League of Legends has TSM, where like they were the go-to for guides for a while, and that's kind of what Tempo Storm's been trying to do in Hearthstone, and I think they've succeeded reasonably well. They're not as dominant as TSM was for a while when it comes to like, competitive content, but they're getting very close to that. And they have the same goals for Heroes. They want this squad and myself to produce lots and lots of content, like an insane amount. We're in the process of making a website, very close, similar to the Tempo Storm one for Heroes, or for Hearthstone, but it will be for Heroes. And we have plans to upload a video every day of the week.
It's good.
And guides constantly, which is really cool because I've been, like doing content for 4 years now. That's what I want to be doing, and the cool thing is everyone on the team wants to do content. Like there's no like, well, I'll do it if I have
to. Now
they
fact
that esports life.
They do now, but it's cool because Raynad has been really, and Froden both, because Froden's operational managers. They have been very open to basically any idea we want to do.
I just want to quickly shout out to Frodan here because I've been following him and a fan of him for like a long time. And we're at BlizzCon and he like introduced himself to me. I'm just like, why the hell do you like here? This is BlizzCon where Heroes is nothing. And I had cast like 2-3 times, but he had seen those casts. I think one of the casts was with you, so I'm going to credit that to me casting with you and you knowing Frodan, but still.
Well, he's seen Town Hall. He referenced Town Hall when we talked.
Yeah, the fact that he was already involved with the Heroes community just shows that like this wasn't just like a spur of the moment thing. Like he's been following Heroes for a while. So really cool to have Tempo Storm involved.
Jake was fangirling all the way back to
I was like, yo, Frodo knows who I am.
It was like, Frodo knew who I was.
I was very happy about that, man.
And it was funny. But...
Yeah. Oh, I love the fanboy. It's always good. It's always fun. But yeah, now we have Tempo Storm involved, and it's just welcome to Heroes. It's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, the team's actually like really happy with Tempo Storm. They were like, because let's be honest, Tempo Storm's not the biggest name in esports.
They're not an evil genius. No.
Yeah, they're only a Hearthstone team. Like they're a big deal in NA Hearthstone, but that's it. And like obviously, like the dream was like, let's sign with a TSM or an EG, but they were actually really excited to sign with someone like Tempo Storm to help try and build Tempo Storm up.
But the brand is, like you said, for Hearthstone, it's a big brand in Hearthstone.
Yeah, solid brand. Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely not something to scoff at.
No, that's not what I was trying to say, but. This is like they're in the process, like they'll be able to help create something if like it gets to that point. Like if they keep winning stuff and like this content stuff goes well, they'll be like assisting in building something bigger.
Awesome.
And, like if you were to sign with like TSM right now, like how like aside of like being like a Trump or something who's got like 30K viewers every time he streams, like how do you build the TSM brand bigger than it already is?
That's a good way to look at it because TSM's going to build you. You're not going to build them, but here it can go both ways with Tempo Storm.
Yep, and that's what we're all kind of excited about. It's just like it's going to be a cool growing experience for everyone involved.
They picked up a good team, for sure.
It's going to be hype.
Yep.
So we've dove into the esports recap a little bit already. We already reviewed that one game, but we saw some other weird stuff happen over the gauntlet of it's a mess in my head right now between the like 20 hours of casting we did with those 3 days. Anything that stood out to anyone beyond that one game we covered already because my brain is mush right now.
I guess we can talk double support meta.
Uther Mouth by Tempo Storm.
Uther Mouth, Uther
Malfragor.
Oh, we did see Malfragor, you're right.
Malfragor.
Malfragor. I'm like trying to remember if like there's any other. I know in EU we saw Uther Brightwing a few times when I was watching the ESL cast.
That actually happened once. I think the
Fnatic.
former Maelstrom team did that. I can't recall which tournament it is, forgive me, but there was a situation where they did snipe both of the top tier supports before the other team had picked theirs because they did it too late. And
did that against SMG.
I want to say it was their match before that. Maybe it was versus Murlocs.
Vortex
I remember the
Vortex.
draft going to it, and it was like their second round of picks. Like they were second pick, and they picked their 2 heroes, and the other team had their 3. And the other team just didn't have any supports yet, and then they were just like, yeah, those 2 supports, and they just completely shut them out, and they just kind of steamrolled the game because they could just do whatever they wanted.
It worked out pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was Kings, I think. Like Kings semis?
I'm pretty sure it was King semis. It was Vortex versus SMG, if I remember correctly. I think SMG first game picked double support, and then Vortex second game picked double support against them. Like mirrored that the
That
same
sounds
type of-
familiar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's-
that did
I wanna-
happen. That happened the day after. It was actually the day before in the monthly.
Okay.
And
Okay,
it might
yeah.
have been Maelstrom versus Vivid Gaming. Now that I'm thinking back, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, I think there is this. We've been hearing some players from the EU sort of prophesize the coming of the double support, and
It's true.
I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts. Is it a problem? Like, is this gonna like really? Is this meta gonna get stale fast? Like, from your perspective,
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, it's already boring. Like,
like second picking Uther Rhaegar or something. You know, it's just like you're walking into some sort of storm already.
we'll start seeing support bans. Like, I'm feeling it. Like, just
think
to
we
prevent
have to.
this kind of play. Like, if you get like the way like it started to happen, like when first double support started happening, when it was just like Uther mouth, like you would go like Tyrael Judgment and like try and blow someone up instantly, and it was starting to work. And then people were like, "Oh, Rhaegar has this cool heal called Ancestral Heal," and that just kind of completely like if they don't kill that person in the Judgment, well,
I mean,
end of the fight.
even in the matches, we were seeing the Judgment with the Hinterland Blast, with the Shrink Ray to make sure that target dies. But if you kill that target, you're still going to lose the fight. Like, you managed to get that one kill, but we saw it time and time again.
yeah, they're out of steam at that point. And yeah, we even saw situations where the entire rest of the team got VP'd out. And they had not even gotten the chance to cast anything. They threw everything onto that one player. They finally killed him after like almost the entire duration of the VP went down. And then those 4 players were just like, okay, we're going to kill the rest of your team now. And it was like, okay. Well, we did what we wanted to do. We accomplished our goal of eliminating and turning the fight into a 5v4, but we still lost.
Yeah.
And is that a problem? I mean, like, probably. I mean,
And there's like 5 good supports now. Like you can consider Lily viable for the double support.
Oh,
like,
yes.
she's got a lot of utility you can bring to the team.
Yeah.
Like even if you try and start banding around it, like there's still the potential of it happening. I don't know. We'll have to see what people can come up with to counteract it.
Yeah.
Like I like the fact because we haven't seen Shrink Ray in a long time. Like that fell off so hard. Like the only time we would ever see it was like kind of sometimes versus like an Illidan Metamorphosis, just to like try and like wreck him a bit. But
We've been seeing it.
occasionally on Tassadar, just to like allow for a little bit better chase
That's
on the
true.
Archon.
But only on
sometimes.
occasion.
It's not at all a standard thing.
Yeah.
What's weird about Tass is he makes the situation kind of awkward too, because teams can get Tass first pick, and then the other team might pick double carry or something, right? And then they pick double support.
we did that.
So now you have a team that has Tass double support, and then like a heavy carry Thrall and a Vala or something like that, right? Like, or a tank and a carry, right? Then it's like almost impossible to break that team.
What did we
Especially
do
if they have
versus
like,
Maelstrom? It was Tass, Uther, Mouth.
I think
yesterday?
something like that. Yeah, it's
Something
like
that. Yeah,
that's
insane.
like
That
it's
did
so
happen.
hard to kill, right? Like and they have double healing. If they have Mouth and Tass, they have double healing ward. They have shields, they have heals, they have AoE heals,
You
shrink
just
rays.
you just don't die.
Yeah, it's very hard to break. It is very hard to break.
And I think Tychus was in there too. So you're talking double health bar and Tychus. You're talking
Yeah.
Archon.
Oh
And
my
you can-
god!
Even better though, Tychus when he Odins, you can heal the Odin, right? Like
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
like one of Tychus's weakness in
I
Odin
feel
is,
like they have to change that. I
you break-
actually think
yeah.
that has to be changed.
I remember saying to Arthlon like the power, like I saw like KO sitting in like a 50-second Odin once, like, and it was just getting healed for like the entire fight.
at
It's like
20 after
the
20.
power of an Odin that getting heals it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I think it's too much because
It's like SCV Thor.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Make it so Mule can heal Odin, and that's it. We're gonna see double Mule builds with Odin.
That would
and
be
it's
really funny. I would be okay with that. Just for like a week.
And, like, this support meta is like so annoying on Sky Temple. Like, you don't even have to like technically fight on the shrine. You just stand there and make sure like everyone's staying. Like, of course you're fighting, but like you keep everyone alive and like you're winning the shrine. Like, it's
Yeah.
Well,
Someone,
since
I was gonna
Go
say
ahead, Mac.
somebody suggested, which I don't know if Blizzard would do it because it might be too much, but like a Mortal Strike, right? Is that what is that a World of Warcraft?
Blizzard
term?
already
Is that
said they
previous-
would never do
Okay,
it.
okay.
They said they
So
won't do
that's-
Mortal Strike.
They said they would
Yeah,
never
they said that
do
they
it.
don't want to.
Like Garrosh
said
comes in, right?
yeah,
We
right.
introduce Mortal Strike.
I think there
or
could.
whatever.
I would
They
like
said-
to see a hero have that. I don't think it should be a common thing.
Oh, I agree.
They said
I think should, but
they
wouldn't
said that
do
it doesn't provide any kind of reasonable counterplay to it. Like if you get the
Ah.
jump on someone with it, then you're
They're dead.
effectively cutting their kit in half.
Mhm.
So it's like
Hmm.
it's kind of it's a really gray area, and it's something they even struggled with in WoW alone, let alone bringing that to heroes.
What if
So I'm
it's
not sure
something
about
that's
that.
got long cooldowns similar to? It's just a reverse hunter's mark,
Right,
though.
right.
It could
I
be
mean,
like
it's
an
a reverse hunter's
ultimate,
mark.
right? It could be like an ultimate on like Garrosh,
Yeah.
something like
I'm
that.
not
right?
I'm
Like-
not saying it's not going to be in the game.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what Blizzard said. And one of the things really early on and this goes back to Zoe, you might remember this, when we had the double support comp, like that was a thing for almost a full month. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And a lot of people on the forums were trying to find ways to get rid of it. Like how do we deal with this without just outright killing supports? And one of the biggest things that came out was give Envenom a heal debuff. And it was like, okay, that's actually
cool.
not awful. Like you envenom someone and they suddenly take like 25% less heals. Same idea as Mortal Strike, but a little bit less intense. And so it basically it buffers off the heal that's going to them, and it also cuts down the incoming. That was something. But honestly, for me, and I know this is gonna be super biased because I'm a huge Nova fanboy. Like the biggest thing that I miss and that honestly shut down double healer was Nova back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you had a Brightwing walking around, Nova pop dead. Like Lily walking around, dead. No questions asked. Just in the ground. Don't have to worry about that nonsense double heal anymore. You try to run Nova now, you're not going to be able to do anything with her until you hit like level 22. And it's like, it's gross and it doesn't feel right. So I'm not sure if you just need more burst damage in the game right now or what the deal is with that. But we saw EU and a couple of other teams experimenting with Barb. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. That was
Sonya.
cool.
Well, that game disconnected pretty quick. They had some issues in the ESL studio, so we didn't even get to see the full game there. Unfortunately, we know it didn't work out for them.
Didn't work.
But so we really can't come to much of a conclusion because we honestly that game disconnected.
Maybe if we see a good team do it, then. We'll
Damn,
right.
God, so yeah.
I think with the burst, I think the one hero that people are starting to figure out, but she might be just too fragile as Jaina, right? Like she deals a lot of burst
And we
damage.
saw that. We saw the
Yeah, yeah.
attempt, and it looked almost there. We were seeing the snowman be summoned for that burst damage with it summoning and trying to blow people up, but like it never seemed like enough. And like you could make the same argument for Nova. She's not what she used to be, but you could make the same argument for her. I don't know.
But I think they need to do it. Like I know, like it's been talked that there's going to be early work, but like there's so many things that just ruin Sonya. Like the Wrath build's really cool and stuff, but like there's so like if you go Brightwing, like they pop Wrath, you polymorph them, done. Like you don't have Wrath anymore. Like it's
The biggest thing for me is like, why did they nerf Hammer? Like why did they nerf her slam? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
You
at all.
can't say why do they nerf
Hammer.
Hammer when you have
I know.
It's
I'm
like
talking about Sonya and
worst
Hammer.
wording.
Sergeant Hammer's in a
all
good
right.
spot right now.
Like,
bro.
worst
So the short end of it is that they're making some changes, and they're basically putting off doing a rework for her. Like they nerfed her leap. That one was even more questionable.
Yeah,
because
they increased
like
it.
there was a
20
time
seconds.
when the double dive comp was there with Tyrael Judgment
Eraser build,
and then
yeah.
leaping in
Eraser.
and
Yeah,
basically Eraser. And that was a thing for a little bit, and they're like, okay, we need to just sort of nerf her burst damage. That's fine, but then that meta disappeared for like at least 2 months, and then like
Yeah, it's been a while.
let's just add 20 seconds of cooldown to leap. And I remember specifically asking them about that at BlizzCon, and they were just like, "Well, we got bigger plans for her down the road."
They did the same with Lily. Like, they nerfed Lily's healing out of nowhere when she was already the worst support. I don't understand that. Like, we have a rework coming. We're preparing for it now. No, just rework her all at once. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
what's
I
the
get the
point?
idea of like easing people into it. That's always been like their way of doing things. But when it comes to affecting gameplay, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It feels wrong.
Look how long it's been since the Sonya nerfs. Like, it's constant nerf. Like, we got a rework coming, guys. 6 months later, like, already Blizzard.
Yeah. She was never even like amazing to begin with either, which is like the worst part.
Yeah.
She was always like a mid-tier at best hero.
Yep.
And but she was an answer for some things, which was nice
she
to
had
have. But she was never
use-
anyone was like, "Oh, she's broken. We can't." You know,
Yeah.
that was never really a discussion at all.
Now,
Except for when artifacts existed.
Okay,
this
that is. There were a lot of people.
Don't,
That
let's
don't
not
talk
talk about
about
those
that.
days. Don't
Yeah, we
don't
don't-
talk about that. Don't
That-
talk about
How
that.
dare you?
That's actually
No,
banned from
history.
the show.
We have to learn from
Banned
it.
from the
We
show.
can't forget your
It's
history.
true.
Banned from the show. Get out. Stop that. This is completely theory crafting, and we're going to start with Mcintyre. I want to see your opinion. Wombo combo. Is that the answer to double healer? Can wombo combo setups, guaranteed full-on combo, gravel bomb, apocalypse, that kind of stuff, is that the answer to the double support?
I think like while we were just discussing it, I was like in my head thinking about Diablo. Like I was like, well, Diablo. Like I wish that hero's ultimate didn't heal the other team when I used it. But like if Blizzard like actually made the
Well
Storm
played.
Breath like not do reverse damage, then maybe like just jamming. You know, because when he ults, like he's
Well played.
immovable, right? Like he's just like, you can't stop me. I'm just gonna breathe on your team. Unlike Jaina, who runs up and like tries to deal her damage and gets flicked and dies. You know, it's like, so I like maybe the wombo combo is the thing. I would say Zeratul is a good hero against double support, right? Like we all are sitting here saying in our heads, yeah, if you VP the double support, then you can kill that one guy on the outside. And I like that might be the answer too. You know, maybe we just have to play a little more technical or whatever. But going full on wombo, gravo bomb, the whole nine, like on that whim that you catch it, you know, and it's like this glorious, we did it, you know, like it would be good. But like if the other team just plays smart and safe, I don't think that it's reliable enough, right? Like
Mighty Gust into gravel bomb.
there you go.
Stop, please stop.
Go home.
Stop.
Go home.
Okay, so
We brought up Diablo real quick,
Yeah.
but
I like what you said, Mac. That it makes a lot of sense. And when the wombo combo was a big deal, it was never actually nerfed. People just played around it.
It's got
So
better.
it was something where it was like, yeah, it was, you know, technically they didn't make any changes to it. So that hasn't changed. The fact that people can play around it, none of that has changed.
Yeah.
So right, it's exactly that. If you happen to catch all 5 of them in this small area, and they're going to be well aware that that's your strategy, right? It's
Yeah.
going to be some obvious tells to it. Gazlo being one of them. I mean, you don't even have to go Gazlo, but you have to certain setup of heroes for it, and it's going to be a little obvious. So they'll know to play around it. That's what it comes down to.
well, we talked about Diablo, and we never said anything, but
We never even mentioned the.
Kevin was. I was trying to do like a sad, like crying thing, but
Diablo crying is what it was.
Kevin.
Diablo watches the Notebook.
He went to Apex, and he got sick. That's why he's not here. Sickaroonie,
His
dude.
soul is with us.
Yep.
There he is.
Rip Tibbles.
There he is.
There he is.
Being young and spry. And
That is transformed.
he
Yeah.
he is actually
What's up, guys?
he's out of town for work and sick, so wasn't able to join us tonight. So that is why Kevin's not here.
Serious question. When is Kevin ever not sick?
Dude, that guy is like a constant, like.
Does he have an immune system? Because I'm pretty sure he does not. He's just constantly sick.
Hopefully, it
Poor
just
Kev.
doesn't sound like the sound Zoyo is just making.
Yeah, right.
That's all we can hope for.
The
Hope you're doing
Diablo,
well, Shampoo.
Diablo
Hope you're
cry.
good out there.
All right, so let's talk about some more weird comps we saw. We talked about the Barb thing. We can't really come to a conclusion on that, but one thing we saw was EG attempted to do a tankless build. We've seen this in the past, but they went with Illidan and Thrall as a front line, and they had Tass Uther I think that was it. There wasn't double support. They just had
Task
Task
Uther, Rhaegar.
It was Rhaegar? Okay.
Thrall,
Yeah, there's Rhaegar.
Oh, because we were
Thrall.
debating whether they were going to Bloodlust.
Yep.
or
That's
whether
right.
Ancestral
That's right.
Herald.
That's right.
And we're like, no, they have to Ancestral.
So what do you guys think about that? Now, I mean, we've seen this in the past. Tuark did a style with Tass, Abathur, Uther, and Illidan, tankless style. But
I'm not going to straight up call it bad, but
There's
it's
a long
got
time
a
ago,
lot
yeah.
of refining to do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to call it like terrible yet because there is potential, like with any comp, but it's got a long way to go before it sees like dominating performances.
I agree. I think like one thing that when I look back on Tuark's build, I think it was, they would run Brightwing, Uther, Abathur, Illidan, and then I can't remember the 5th pick right now.
Tass.
Maybe Tass, right?
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
Task because of the healing on the
yeah,
shield.
Yes.
the steal.
Protect
So-
the comp. Go.
With that, like that's you're focusing all on one, you know, and Abathur is always gonna have the shield. I guess that was when Abathur kind of did more damage than he does now. They kind of, you know, made him a little bit more wonky. He can be cool. I don't think we've really figured him out yet, but like I would say his numbers back then were a little bit more appealing than they are now. But I think with that team comp, they're all, you know, focusing on the Illidan, right? Illidan's doing everything. And then with EG's comp, they kind of split it. So like some fights, Illidan would get all the hills, and then like I guess my team played against this comp. So from my point of view, they would get all the hills to Illidan, and then we would just switch to Thrall, right? So now everything's, you know, they've just blown everything to keep Illidan alive, and now Thrall is kind of weak and alone. But with the Tuark comp was like everything on Illidan. We'll give him everything, and hopefully he can pull this fight for us. So it was fun. Like it was very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And comms, we were like, maybe this will work against us, but then we played.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to hear like what was your thought process as the draft progresses, right? So they picked Illidan last, but how much of that did you foresee going into that, or did you see Illidan where you're like, whoa, no warrior, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was more like we figured it was just gonna be like standard double support, maybe a tank, maybe a carry. You know, we saw the Thrall. That's something that EU's been doing a lot. They've been running the Thrall double support. Tempo Storm, they're more Kerrigan double support. So we were kind of expecting that, you know, and we were like, okay, they'll go warrior, and then they picked like we said, the Illidan, right? Illidan he can be good if everything's focused on him, but like the second that those heals were down, he would just pop in the fights. Like at least that's how it felt from, you know, our side. I don't know. Like Zoya said, he said a little fine tuning maybe it could be something, but I think where it is right now, I don't really encourage it.
Chat was actually saying ZP says the strategy didn't really get shown off.
Yeah, that was the conclusion I came to. There was one fight over the North Keep. They actually, it seemed like they got what they wanted out of that fight. Like they had a really nice sundering that just like cut you guys off, and Illidan went to town. And that fight, it went quite well in their favor. That was the only fight we really got to see, like what you would call the showcase of that type of builds. But other than that, you guys did a pretty good job, like you were saying, switching targets, etc. So, but sorry, Jake, go ahead. Okay.
No, it's just straight up. Like I guess in what ZP was probably saying in his stream was they got a few early deaths on their side that put them behind, and they just kind of never really recaught their ground, and that was it. So I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it again. I like seeing new things. It's definitely refreshing to see like new styles.
Shout outs to EG. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of comps that exist right now that teams have been running, not in tournament yet, but they've been kind of scrimming and playing around with, where they're hyper unforgiving compositions. Where like if you get ahead, you're in a really, really good spot. But if you drop even 1 or 2 kills or like one map objective, then you're just like it's almost impossible to come back from. And I like that because it's kind of the risk versus reward stuff. But that's kind of why the 2 support meta I think is coming back, because it's just super safe.
It is
like so safe.
I hope we see support bans.
Yeah, I mean I hope we do too. I hope we see a lot of changes coming in. I've given like a ton of lectures on this subject, but I'm not going to do it here. I promise. The TLDR is like people who play games for money will almost always default to the safer pick. Right. And that's what we're kind of seeing right now. So it's going to be really cool to see how the new age, we're in like 5 years old, The new age players are going to be breaking this 2 support meta, so I'm super excited, and I hope people that haven't watched Heroes will get to see that happen, and we'll see the upswing of damage and all that good stuff coming in soon.
It'll be fun.
So, yeah, it's going to be a good time. Very excited.
All right, it's that time of the day.
Is it a question mark?
Oh,
Do you have the overlay ready?
I am actually prepared.
Okay, it's time.
I'm
Are you
actually
ready?
really excited to see
Ready?
this.
Because I'm in my new place now. I can do it. I can do it.
Oh,
Legit.
we're ready. We're ready.
It's time for Kubi's questions.
Nice.
I thought we were gonna get a background. No background?
What?
No green screen?
Here's your
Liam
Oh.
tweeted at you. He was like, "I need background for the green screen." This is supposed to be like flashing stuff behind you, and it's supposed to be ridiculous.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
actually.
Can
I
I
didn't
be
think that
real?
far ahead.
Can I be real with you guys real quick? I miss Kevin dancing with me.
I
did
thought
a little
about it,
dance.
but
I did a little
don't.
bit. I thought
I just
about it.
don't
It's
know
like I had
I was
this
like,
giant sandwich from.
I mean, we could do it
Friendly's
over
today.
if you want. I'll do it over. We could do it.
I was doing production things. God damn it.
No, there's no.
No, that was good.
Kubi,
It's
give us
just
the
fun and
questions.
tough.
Okay, we're getting in there. Relax. We're getting in there. All right. I realized I used to do somewhat of like a map breakdown / scenario for a lot of the maps we did previously. I remember like a couple times I went into Blackheart's Bay quite a bit, talking about like how teams approach strategies on that map. And we haven't done it in a while because we've sort of fleshed that out quite a bit. But I just realized today we have a new map. And we haven't
Temple.
really had a good opportunity to sit down after we've seen some tournaments, etc., and talk about all the different things that this map brings in terms of how to approach the map from a strategy standpoint. So I think we'll just jump right into it. And the first thing I want to talk about is how teams should approach the double temple spawning at the same time. Like, what are the different ways to approach this, and like what's ideal? Do you guys have any impressions on that? And we'll start with Mac.
All right, so I guess Sky Temple is still new, like you said. So I can only say so much, like maybe my personal experiences with it, especially with the 2 shrines. So it depends on really your team composition. So what you're trying to achieve from the hero selection screen. I think when the map first started, people were pushing like Brightwing, Falstad, like globals, right? Like, let's take globals. We can be everywhere. This is how we play this map. This is how it should operate, you know? So that was kind of the thing at the beginning when we first started playing Sky Temple. I think as the meta for the map has progressed, I think teams are approaching it more of a, let's make a good, almost like a Haunted Mines comp, right? Where you're like, if we can win a fight, then we can stay ahead and we can win the map. Because it's really snowbally. I think that's where most teams are at right now with Sky Temple is, if we can win a fight in the beginning, get a couple shrines ahead of the other team, then we can just continue to win fights. The same way that Mines goes. I guess that's my input on it. I don't want to go into too much detail because there are some things that I want to keep.
Yeah,
but,
Sure. No, that's fine.
But like, I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
very,
thoughts.
very, yeah.
Okay.
Secret
Yeah.
strats.
There's a cool it's something we haven't seen on other maps. Like we've talked about, like it kind of happened on Hot Mines, but like people are like starting to understand how team they've always like they're taking it even to a more extreme to where like you look at your composition and you'll lose pre-4. Like you will not win without level 4 talents, or if you had 4 talents, you won't. So some teams are like just kind of like lightly pressuring the shrines while soaking 3 lanes at the first one if they realize that they can't win that shrine fight without their 4 talents. We're seeing a lot of cool like stuff like that where people are just like understanding their composition a lot better, which is neat to see.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I'll step back in now. With the what Zoya's comment is like, sometimes it might be okay to give up the shrine because if the other team's stacking against 5 to control it and you split per soak, you're still kind of neck and neck with them as far as the experience goes. So
Yeah,
it's
and then
not-
when you
not a
take
bad-
the objectives later, like if you lose your towers mid and you're still even on experience, that means when you take their towers later on, that'll put you a little bit further.
Yep.
And
Good point.
that's a good way to look at it too.
Okay.
And you don't want to take fights like pre-4, right? If you have a comp, if they have Arthas and I don't know, Uther, I'll say it correctly this time, Tehran.
Nope.
I don't.
It's okay.
Whatever.
Just-
The chick that goes and shoots the owls.
T
that one.
nice.
With the hunter's mark.
Tyrande.
Is it? I don't know what it is.
Tyrande.
Anyways, Tyrande. All right,
Tyrande.
cool.
Yeah.
He's like, where we
Yeah, if the other team has those 3 heroes, the last thing that your team wants to do is say, "Let's go fight them." Like that sounds like a great idea. Like you want to avoid those fights. That's when you avoid the fights on Sky Temple because you lose those fights. Then that soaking, that splitting, that getting ahead, that you just negated all of it. So
Matt.
All right. I'm gonna semi-cop out, but in order to further the discussion, are you talking specifically about the top mid spawn, or what about
if you
like?
want to get specific with it?
Well, it
minute and 30
changes
seconds.
things.
No,
it changes
that's
a lot.
fine.
It's
That's
like
fine.
you have,
minute
you have
30
top
seconds.
bottom.
That's the situation. Minute 30.
So the first one. Okay.
What's up, Mac?
I was just gonna say, if we talk shrine specifics, it is important to note that bottom shrine, you can get level 10 at that bottom shrine. So before that solo bottom shrine spawns, you can be level 10. That's something important to note. So
Yes. Yeah. So there's that. In terms of approaching the shrines, I think a lot of teams are starting to realize that it's not necessarily that you have to full in immediately. Like when the map first came out, we saw a lot of teams kind of just try to rush to the point and basically throw a flag down and be like, "All right, come at us." And we're starting to see a little bit less of that, unless they're already in like a hyper dominant position, which at 130 that's probably not going to be the case.
Yeah.
We're starting to see teams kind of feel out what they can do at the start of the fight instead of just run in. And if we ever see, we usually don't see false dead, but if we ever see like a Brightwing, they'll usually send that one to kind of scout the other side and figure out what's going on. And more specifically than anything else, we're starting to see a lot of teams time things better. We've seen it happen on other maps. Shout outs to ESV Wildfire. We've seen it happen on a lot of other maps where teams will time out like mine spawns, and we'll see like the rotation from the 4-1. The one person will come down and meet with the 5, and then like that'll happen right as the mines open. They'll enter as 5, and then kind of just swarm through the mines. And that stuff has kind of been already done through. But now we look at shrines, and we see teams being like, okay, it's 121. You need to be on your horse and moving. And it's really cool. It's those types of very specific things add a lot of depth to the game, and I'm really happy that that's becoming a standard in the competitive community.
I'm starting to see things like, because it's a fixed 2 minutes. Once the shrine ends, it's a fixed 2 minutes, no matter what point in the game it is, that the next shrines will spawn. And so we're starting to see teams like, okay, at, say like it ends at 4:30. Okay, at 5:30 we're going to start nights, and then at 5:30 we're going to start nights, and then at 5:50 we're going to be grouped as 5, heading down looking for a pick right before the shrine spawns. We're seeing these really fleshed out timings that I think maybe drag like there's the mine spawn on Haunted Mines, but like this is like the only map I think where like because the chest on Blackheart's Bay is like there's like a minute and a half period where it can randomly spawn like post like 1 minute. There's like this is a very fixed timer, and
like
Garden's
rockets.
Kind of close. Garden's kind of close where people they'll make predetermined things to say like, hey, we're gonna swarm this area as a team when night falls, and we're just gonna go in and look for a pick, or we're gonna go in and do same kind of deal. But it's not as intense as this. Like teams are literally on the second just in motion, and it's really cool to see.
On top of that, not only are we seeing those rotations, but we're seeing feigns of those rotations as well. So team will feign that they're making their way to the temple, and then they'll just turn around and they'll catch 2 or 3 members that are, doing whichever their rotation might be. So it's really cool to see the meta like really evolving around the maps, and that's kind of the beauty of Heroes.
And we're just now starting to see on Sky Temple that's really powerful is people are willing to like either delay going to temple or give up temple to push a fort. Because like if you take that bottom fort early, that means the next bottom shrine that comes up is not wasting ammo on that bottom fort. Like taking an objective early is super impactful on this game when it comes to just shrine consumption. And like the meta is like constantly evolving for this map right now. It's been like how long has it been? Like a month and a half now? Like
something close to that. Yeah, something close to that.
It's about there.
Like
I think it's been like 4 weeks exactly. Coming out today, right? They released Sky Temple?
It's not Tuesday.
Yeah, it's interesting to think though, because if you do trade a keep for a shrine or a temple or whatever, then you've kind of just offset that shrine or that temple. You've done the exact same thing that the other team has, and if you've split and gotten soaked, then you're even more ahead.
Right. Yeah, I think
Something to look at.
even possibly by default, you've done better because you're getting creep soak while you're in lane as well.
Exactly.
You don't get that when you're on the shrine, because the shrine does an AOE. Shoutouts to mules.
Mules hype.
Hey, actually, that segues very nicely into my next question. Is
There you go, big boy.
hear everybody talk about the importance of Mule, and I think when the map first came out, people were very much hyping up Mule. We even saw some double Mule comps, etc. Do you guys think it's still as important as we once thought it was when the map first came out? How has that changed, etc.? Jared, go ahead.
It's still important. It's something that you should consider when drafting on Sky Temple is, can we get a mule pick? It's not 100% necessary. It's like if you don't have a mule, you'll lose this game, because we've seen plenty of teams win without a mule. But I think it might have been a bit overhyped, but I think it's still an important feature to think about when going on to Sky Temple.
It'll save you a keep. It's kind of like muling on black hearts after first turn in, right? Like if they don't push that, I mean, there was the meta kind of developed. It's like if we push that mid-bottom tower, mid-wall, and then turn in, then we get keep, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
But if teams, jam those first 10 coins, don't get any damage on keep, and you mule it back, then you've kind of negated the turn in. So it works a little more effectively in Sky Temple with the fact that there is no kind of cheese way, right? We can't say, or if we kill bottom, maybe there is. Maybe I haven't even explored that idea.
The other thing,
now that I think about it, but
the mule can heal while being sieged too. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
That doesn't work
Yeah.
on black hearts. That works in Sky Temple. So
doesn't get splashed. But like maybe I haven't thought about the idea that if we push bot tower and then stand on the shrine, then we'll guarantee ourselves a keep, even if they have heal up.
Right. That's like
that was
That's
a
like
bad sound.
I know that was pretty terrible. That's like what me and Squishy did when Blackhearts was
Rip!
like a thing. Yeah, shout out to Squishy. He's great. I miss him. But we figured out exactly what you needed to do for killing a keep on Blackhearts when you got the first turn in. And I mean, now it's common knowledge, but it was either kill any of the three main outer things, so just like a tower or the wall, or you had to do 6,500 damage to something. Any distributed evenly
split between.
and it would still give you a keep kill. But that it's stuff like that, and I'm sure as time goes on, we'll figure out more and more of it. Like we'll see teams possibly pushing the walls first and trying to like break a certain thing or do X amount of damage to it, and then kind of like rotating to another one doing the same thing and just wiping out the entire first line of defense, a la old SMG style, where you just kind of like break the wall and then just rush in and blow stuff up. I don't know. There's a lot of really neat things that can come in.
They go bottom shrine, we'll go Rhaegar and Bloodlust top.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, screw it. We don't need the shrine. We'll just siege.
You're not going to beat double support anyway. Just backdoor them. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Beat them in the PvE war.
I don't even want to go and deal with those double heals. I'm just going to kill your keep. You can't heal that.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Done. Good
Heard it
answers.
here.
I like it. All right. Next part of this is: do you think that since the map?
Three-parter.
Hey, I got more than that, buddy. Relax. Relax. Okay. Next part. Do you think that there is any potential for some very underused heroes to perhaps find their way into the meta for this particular map?
Gazlo?
Yeah, that's a very
Absolutely
good point.
Not.
That's all right. Go for it. You want to make a blanket statement like that? You're gonna explain yourself, son. Let's go.
All right. So we saw
Son.
Gazlo in the Super Troll game that we saw.
Yep.
So
Vortex.
that's not really a good example, but there was the article as well out by Browder, who was like, "Oh, Gazlo becomes a good pick on Sky Temple." False. And the reason that that's false is because any team that's even remotely coordinated will just roll through and stomp out whatever Gazlo tries to set up. It's just not going to do enough.
I mean,
the only time that's going to maybe be effective is against, I don't know, like Stitch's skill shots, where like the turrets can block skill shots and kind of just be punching bags for that. So there's that. But the thing is that like the heroes aren't played in general for specific reasons. Like people understand that their value is not strong enough in this specific comp or in this specific map to offset what's out currently. And when it is, or quote unquote could be, it's kind of a cheesy thing that people see through very quickly. And most of the times it won't win you a game. It might win you that first fight or something like that, but will it win you the end game? Probably not. And on top of doing all that, you have to find a way to work it into the draft.
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes really wonky. Now, if it was blind pick, my answer would probably be totally different, because you wouldn't be able to see what you're going into, and a lot of things change in that regard. But when you're given time to size up your opponent as the draft goes through, with the level of play that we're at already, I don't think that it's gonna work that way.
Very rarely have we seen any hero in that state where they're good on a certain map. Like you've had for a long time, you saw Hammer on Dragonshire because that was Hammer's best map and it was viable there. And like Mouth used to be picked on Mines for a while because roots are so strong in the Mines fights. But a good hero is a good hero because of what they bring to the team comp, not what they bring to the map. And it's very rarely. I mean, it could be a possibility that one that like this like maybe a potential hero will be good on this certain map, but right now, yeah, I don't know. It's not in the current state of the game though.
Maybe Sonya on Sky Temple. That's the only hero that I would say.
All right, elaborate.
Bold statement.
You know, like I don't know. Like I think when I first started playing Sky Temple, I mean, I'm a master Sonya player here, right? So,
hyper.
I have the master skin. I put in the time, but yeah, when I first started playing Sky Temple, I was just playing Sonya just because, and I don't know, she's kind of good there because she is very good at duels, right? So like, if you're trying to catch skirmishes like 2v2, like I would say that Sonya can beat Arthas, right? Like she can beat him. Like, she's one of those heroes, if she has a support or something behind her. Like, she's one of those heroes that can beat that hero. You know, I just don't think we're giving her the time of day. I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah.
I'll throw it out there. Like
she definitely destroys Arthas in a 1v1, like, hands down. Even
especially if you go Wrath, too. Like,
yeah, if you go Wrath, there's absolutely no way that Arthas can win that. He doesn't have a stun to beat Sonya, and if you try to pull up Army of the Dead, you will do 0 damage to her because she goes up.
Actually, just 0.
She will negate everything.
You will heal way over anything that Arthas can do. That's fine for that particular situation, but I think when you get the whole like 1 stun hitting her as soon as she taps Whirlwind, that's when you run into some issues. But that aside, okay, so it's interesting that.
Just throw it out there though. I mean, I think she could get there, right? I don't know.
Okay.
That's my one.
Maybe.
That's my one. She could get there hero. Yeah.
All right. Jared, do you have one of those? Or are you in the know?
Think of okay, we've got
on this map.
Double support meta.
Yeah.
Murky never dies. GG.
God. I don't even
should
want
have just moved on.
I don't even want to think about it.
Should have just gone to the next question.
Done.
My body now hurts.
Arthlon told me this. He said it's going to be the new future of the game.
Wow.
And I trust him. I trust that guy with my life,
Arthlon has
man.
never trolled in his life.
I trust that guy with my life. So you know what, Murky's. What are you doing, Jake?
I just wait for it.
Level 6, Sonya.
Not even master.
Not even master.
Oh, you guys can see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think stream can see it.
No preview mode. No preview.
No, I'm watching it on stream.
Yeah, we're
watching it on stream. It's covering my head.
I didn't know
Okay, though.
I didn't think stream could see
It's just grown in anger on stream.
That is one disgustingly angry face.
Put in the 6 games for that level 6.
Correct.
All right. So,
All right.
while you're attempting to do
Oh no!
production value,
I have
Anyways,
the preview
next
window
question.
open and I didn't.
I'll give Jake a chance to answer. Who's your she could get there hero?
It apparently has to be female.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll rip all
On
of that.
Sky Temple.
On
Sky Temple.
Sky Temple specifically.
One hero that can make a
Get there.
splash.
Murky.
No.
Splash. I thought he was punning for a second there, but he just trailed off. Nope. Okay. He's trying too hard with this production stuff. He actually can't think for him.
I already mentioned Nova. I think Nova actually has a place on that map. I think
Okay, we're done.
I think Precision Strike having the global range is actually quite useful, and she does have the burst, especially with the double healer as a thing. She does have a fair amount of burst. Nova is easily dealt with, but players that really know how to use her, I don't know. I think she's a viable pick.
She can get there.
That would work if like they removed moving from the game.
No, the one thing that Nova has to her advantage on that map is that if your team does manage to get that early jump out in the lead, then you're automatically stronger because of levels. So your snipe's doing a little bit more damage, and all your combos and everything are a little bit quicker, and you're faster to get to 16, which is really important. But the biggest thing is that once you have the lead, Nova in the lead in terms of map position is way scarier than Nova being behind.
Agreed.
Like you now have the ability to just casually roam around the map and just pop out into random lanes and kind of just blow people up. So I could possibly see that. I think she's still a little bit too weak, and she still needs really late game to be strong. But
Luckily, this map has a timer on it, so
I know.
sometimes late game doesn't matter.
Yeah,
That's a good point. It's a good
True.
point. I think the one game we saw Nova in the past 3 weeks was on Sky Temple.
yeah. It was C9M playing it.
Yeah,
it's
Maelstrom
Dunk.
ran it.
Dunk
Yeah,
City.
played it
Dunk
once.
was on it. Yeah.
It was
So-
Maelstrom and
And I like the idea.
They also
Maybe.
ran Nova on Cursella as well.
Yeah. They run it from time to time.
Oh, okay. Maybe that was a game I didn't catch, or we didn't cast or something. But okay, that's cool. So maybe Jake, maybe. All right. Do we have time for one more,
No,
or should we cut it off
I'm
here?
cutting you off.
All right.
No.
I have
I'm
a
used to it at
Reddit
this point.
question.
I'm used to it.
All right, Zoloff, what's your question?
Why did you do that?
I didn't mean to. I threw my Ben cue ball. We're not
It
sponsored by
is
them.
from Noidfijme
Okay.
on Reddit.
Excellent.
He has a
Close
question
enough.
for Mcintyre.
Okay.
All right.
You have some of the best builds in game. Not true, but okay. Most interesting.
All
of
right.
which,
Just put that out there.
Hashtag correct.
hashtag rec- no, most interesting of which is your Rainer build you busted out this weekend. Will you make hero guides anytime soon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have 'em on my Twitch right now. Like if you go to my Twitch.
And
I
what
have
is that
my
URL?
guides.
Yeah. Let's plug that.
Okay, so my Twitch URL is Mcintyre lol, LOL.
No judgments here.
My Twitter
I'm
is
vomiting.
Mcintyre hot. If you
Judging
follow-
so hard right now.
if you follow my Twitter, which is below my name, McIntyre Hots, that can get you to my Twitch, which is McIntyre Lol. Not too hard.
McIntyre,
letters.
laugh out loud. He's just a funny
Yeah,
guy.
I'm just laughing out loud.
Funny guy.
But yeah, on my Twitch channel right now, I have guides, and I do talk about that stuff there too. So if you guys ever want to come and chat with me on my
Wow.
Twitch, that is a great place to come and hang out. Yeah.
Wow, so fancy.
I don't know about I don't know. There's not really many guide websites, but
Heroes Fire. Start
Heroes
making
Fire.
them there. Step it up.
Heroes Fire, I
Or
guess.
just chill for like 2, maybe 3 months, and then you can write guides on
maybe.
tempostorm.com.
Announcements of announcements of announcements. Yeah. This is
You
all
can-
your life.
Jake's about to rhyme. Non-rhyme.
Nope, we're
I
not
like
doing
that.
it.
I like that dance.
I guess you could also, because I'm not the only innovator here. You can follow my team's Twitter as well, which is Barell Boys Hots. Barell Boys Hots.
So many
Very
words.
easy.
Yep.
But they also innovate here too. So it's not just me.
Why can't
you're
it just
saying
be
Fan,
BB?
Fan was the one who came up with
B-boys.
this Rainer build.
Yeah,
so-
Fan was the one that was kind of around behind the Rainer build, and I was like, yeah, let's go for it.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get to ask this. Who's the shot caller? You're a shot caller, right?
Yeah, I'm the shot caller.
How does
for Barell Boys.
I like to ask any people we have on from the various teams this question in terms of how does the dynamic go during comms? So you're shot calling. Do you do literally all the shot calling in the fights? How much are the other team members talking, etc.? So
It's like it's a good even split. Like obviously, it's good to have a single voice that makes the last call, right? Like you obviously want to have that. This is what we should be doing, but I think with the way our team works, it's more like what's next. We all throw in what's next, and then I'll decide what's next. If that
Okay.
makes sense. And that team fights are a different story, but as far as objective calling goes, that's how our team operates.
gotcha. Do you call targets in fights? Like, are you the main guy that just says, okay, we're blowing this guy up, go for it? Or
Yeah, it's either it depends on the hero that I'm playing, obviously, right? Like if
Yeah.
I'm on Kerrigan,
Yeah.
and I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna try to look for a combo on Arthas, like then that's me calling the fight. But like if Fury, for example, is on Stitches and I'm looking for a hook, follow me up. It kind of differentiates. Sure.
Okay. Cool.
Well, boys, it is time for the shiz-outs, shout-outs. And we're going to start with Kubus Maximus over in his corner.
Kubi's corner. Perhaps. All right. Let's see. What is coming down the pipeline? Well, tomorrow, actually, by chance, you can catch myself and Solid Jake over there. We're going to be casting the ESL Major League, and that is over on the ESL_Heroes Twitch page. I messed that up in my tweet yesterday, so forgive me. You guys can, yeah, right. Getting into the ropes, but yeah, I'll tweet it out properly tomorrow. And other than that, yeah, you guys can follow me at the Kubi on Twitter. And I'm thinking I'm going to find a way to incorporate the Twitter audience into next week's Kubi's questions. So pay attention over this next week, and perhaps I'll have no promises.
Wow, so dynamic.
But something I'm considering doing. So just pay attention for that. There'll be some fun stuff coming down there. So that's it for me.
Zoloff.
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Tempo Zoya on Twitter. You can also
follow.
follow.
So hard about the tempo.
Hypa. You also follow Tempo Storm on Twitter, and a big shout out to our lovely sponsors, Twitch TV and Namecheap.
Tempo_Storm.
Tempo_Storm. Man, he knows it better than me, man.
Rip.
Tempo_Score. You can follow me at twitch.tv/ZoyaTV, where I've been streaming close to every day and going to try and do that. I also cast tournaments every once in a while on that channel. Keep an eye out for the Dinggit Invitational. Jake and I will be casting that every Friday for like 4 weeks, something like that.
5 Fridays, 1 Saturday. So it's
Yeah.
Friday, and then Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. And also check out Twitter. I'm doing a Twitter giveaway. I'm giving away 5 Heroes of the Storm beta keys for NA or EU. So if you guys are wanting a key, you can check my Twitter tomorrow. And that is all I... Shout out to Mcintyre for being an awesome guest. And
Matthew.
Matthew.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Are we doing? Is Max still doing shoutouts?
Yeah, he's last.
You can shout.
I just want to know. I don't want to know
shout.
if
He's
last.
after you, so it's Matthew now.
He's after. Okay, he's
Matthew
after.
now.
We're good. All right. So for me, at CS Steve is my thing. CS Steve is everything for me. So if you want to find me, reach me, Reddit, whatever, Twitch, it's all CS Steve. That's that. ESL tomorrow, like Kubi said, they're doing their cast. ESL weekly this Sunday. If you want to sign up for that, you can just go to the site. It's play.eslgaming.com. Check that out. If you have a team, if you want to get in there. I run Skype chats, so if you want to get in, best way to get my attention is on Reddit. So go to reddit.com/r Heroes of the Storm. Find me. I'm one of the moderators there. You can see it on the bottom right of the page. Click my name, message me, tell me who you are. I'll add you into the Skype chats, and we can hopefully get you into some competitive Heroes stuff. Kings of the Storm coming up really soon. Follow the Twitter at Kings of the Storm. That's a new one. It's got like 250 people already, so shout-outs to all of you. That's super helpful, and I love you for that. Sign-up thread for this week should be coming up either tonight or tomorrow. I'll post again on Friday and possibly again on Saturday, but definitely follow the Twitter. It'll help you get into the tournaments as much as you can. It's free to enter. It's going to be a different format this week, so eyes up on that. And that's all I got for me. Thanks for having me, guys. It's fun to be back. And good luck and everyone in the games.
Thanks for coming on.
Maybe clairvoyance tomorrow. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on with that with the
I guess I'll move into my shoutouts now.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, go for it.
All right, so I guess I did just a little shout out, but I'll do it again. Mcintyre Hots is my Twitter, which is somewhere in here. Yeah, there it is. My Twitch is Mcintyre Lol. Kind of weird, inconsistent, but we'll go with it because I'm laughing out loud. My team's Twitter is Barell Boys Hots. Shout out to the boys. Shout out to the fam.
Shout out to the barrels.
Yeah, shout out to the barrels. Without the barrels, none of this would be possible.
There's no boys.
Obviously. But yeah, that's where you guys can find me. I guess you'll see us in more tournaments. Hopefully, we're just, Barell Boys are just trying to make it, become the best. That's what we're fighting for. The honor, not the $20 tournaments. We're all about the
I like
the
it.
glory,
Gusto.
right? That's
The
the
glory.
mentality, right? Like,
Oh,
so.
you guys are doing a great job. You guys have had some incredible performances. You guys, it's been a pleasure watching you guys improve, and we're excited to see a lot more out of you. Most of my shout-outs were covered by other people. It's going to be ESL tomorrow, like you said. It's actually 8 p.m.
Yes, 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Times on ESL_Heroes, twitch.tv/ESL_Heroes. Clairvoyance might be happening before that. I actually have no idea how we're going to fit that in. It's going to be rough, Matthew, but we're going to figure that out because with ESL going to be on Tuesday, Thursday, we moved Town Hall to Wednesdays. If you hadn't figured it out yet, Town Hall is now going to be every single Wednesday, not Tuesday, at 9 p.m., as you can see that tonight. And, yeah, Ding and Invitational, Zoe talked about that. Next Friday, keep your eyes up for that. There's a post on Heroes Nexus, Team Liquid, and Reddit, so just go look at all those websites. You'll find the post. Big shout out to Allison for giving out the beta keys for us tonight here in the chat, being hyperactive in the chat, handing out lots of beta keys. I mean, a lot we're giving out tonight. And I guess just, yeah, follow the Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And,
Facebook?
Facebook!
Just that's it.
WordPress?
Facebook, go to Facebook.
On that note, I have a final challenge here for you, Mcintyre. There is one hero in the game, Heroes of the Storm. She shoots owls. She has a quiver. She rides tigers. How do you pronounce her name?
Penguins.
Penguins.
I can't do it.
Good reference.
You have this. You have 15 seconds.
I want to say Tehran so bad, but Tehran?
So close.
That count it. Count it. It's good. Count it.
Taronda.
Yes.
Is it Tehran?
Count it.
Tyrande.
Tyrande. That's it? That's how you pronounce it?
You got it. You got it.
Okay, I got it. Good. I caught myself.
We're in there.
All right, guys, that is going to do it here for Town Hall episode number 49. See you,
Later,
Steve
Kubi.
McIntyre.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for
having
joining
me.
us.
Thank you so much, Mac,
Yeah.
for coming on.
Rest in peace, Shampoo. We'll see you back next week, guys. And until next time.
Yep. Rip Tehran.
The